I would now invite Professor Shoun HINO. He is a professor at the Aichi Gakuin University. He specializes in Vedanta philosophy and the study of Sureshwara. His published works include Advaita Tradition series in 12 volumes and Puja and Samsara. Born in 1948, he completed his master's from Nagoya University and PhD in Sanskrit from Pune University. He has translated books about India and Hinduism into Japanese. Professor Shoun HINO.
Thank you for introducing me. It is my honor to have a chance to speak here. Let me say, I could be here only due to Professor Hajime Nakamura, late professor, and Sengaku Maeda, who is now, and their Eastern Institute in Tokyo. Today, I shall talk about Mahatma Gandhi's nonviolence and disobedience. Mahatma Gandhi's movement of non-violence and disobedience is well known in the world and has been laying on a great influence on the post-war movements for human rights. The civil rights movement of Minister Martin Luther King in USA and anti-apartheid movement of ex-President Nelson Mandela in South Africa and the movement for democratization of Ms. Aung San Suu Kyi are quite influenced by Gandhi's nonviolence and disobedience and are all awarded Nobel Peace Prize. Mahatma Gandhi's nonviolence and disobedience is said to be based on the idea of ahimsa, but for the purpose of understanding its deeper meaning and significance, his Satyagraha movement is to be considered. Though the literal meaning of Satyagraha is truth grasping, I would like to understand that it means the movement for materializing the truth. When he says truth is God, he assumes the absolute and limitless reality beyond the personal gods. This is the absolute monism of the Advaita Vedanta school of religion and philosophy. According to Advaita, this truth is the Brahman, though. Further saying, in Buddhism, it is expressed by the word shunyata or nirvana. And actually, this idea of truth is shared with Ramakrishna and Vivekananda. As they are Vedantins, truth is the Brahman when they say truth is one. Ramakrishna and Vivekananda should be referred to later. For their idea regarding the Muslim and the untouchable, in addition to the above stated idea of truth. Under this transcendent existence, the truth, all the life is coming into existence and each of it is unitarily linked. In the world of dualism, having phenomena in the form of man versus man or man versus nature. Through the recognition of unitary linkage, the opposing two are to have the feeling of sympathy. The opponent is not to be excluded, not the enemy, nor the object of hatred. In the world of duality, we are dual, but we are to be one and no difference between us, except standing as a separate being. So far as non-violence is concerned, there should be not hatred, but sympathy between two opposing ones. Humans are social beings, and therefore humans should make living standing as equal, being with the feeling of sympathy. Such a society is to be realized. This is realizing the truth. That discrimination is the situation that humans are deprived of what they ought to be, and it is the exact opposite to truth. We should not accept it. Rather, we should stand against it and abolish the same. Gandhi has noticed that the discriminations against the colonized India and the untouchables or the Muslim and so on. So far as the independence movement is concerned, the Hartal organized for the first time in 1919 and the Salt March in 1930 are worthy of special mention. Under the sudden non-violence and disobedience, these protest movements took place. Regarding non-violence, he says, English people are not the enemy, but the idea is the enemy. When the problem is solved, we are sure to become good friends. Violence is only attacking the individuals and never leads to the solution of the problem. Non-violence attacks the problem. This is the very significant words. The hartal is a general stride combined by religious customs, fasting and prayer, devised by Gandhi. People close the shops, officers and students do not go to the work, and gatherings are held here and there, and doing fast and praying for the independence. It was non-violently organized, and more of non-political people could participate, and the Muslims also could collaborate. It was a symbolic protest movement of non-violence. This was a success, and the movements spread over and over. And the other symbolic movement for the independence is the Salt March. In March 1930, he started marching with his 86 followers for the distance of 386 kilometers between Samarwati Ashrama and the beach at Dandin, awakening the public, and by the time of reaching the destination, the number of the participants became several thousands. It was the legal march aiming at the abolition of the system of salt monopolization. On April 6, with the word of breaking the law, people started making salt. Then followed the rigid crackdown by the authority. But the followers stood up to that with non-violence and disobedience. This was widely reported overseas by foreign press, which awakened the public opinion, and Gandhi's non-violence became known to the world. So for us, the Gandhi's movement for Hindu-Muslim unity and that of abolition of system of the untouchables, both Muslims and untouchables, who ought to be equal and exposed to the discrimination in the society of caste Hindus, obviously the target of his Satyagraha movement. Certainly, at the place of Gandhi's ashram, the base of his Satyagraha movement, from the very beginning, Muslims and untouchables are both good members of the ashram. In the cause of ashram, equality of the untouchables as well as equality of Hindu Muslims are mentioned. Gandhi says about religions, there exist many a religion, each of which has its own path to the goal, and all of which are one and the same goal. Which path to take does not matter. Now, Ramakrishna was convinced that Hinduism, Islam, and Christianity have different names but one and the same religion. Taking recourse to his own religious experience that Muhammad, Jesus Christ, and merging into the Brahman, and he advocated any religion is only one. Let me introduce his religious experience of Islam. At the time of practicing Islam, the master Ramakrishna at first had a vision of an effulgent, impressive personage with a long beard, Muhammad himself. Afterwards, he had a knowledge of all-pervading Brahman with attributes, and then merged finally into the Brahman without attributes, the Absolute. Further, in the same context, following is mentioned. From the event mentioned above, it becomes clear how sympathetic the master's mind became to the other religious communities after he had attained a perfection in the Vedantic discipline. It also becomes clear how, by having faith in the Vedantic knowledge alone, the Hindus and the Mohammedans of India may become sympathetic towards one another and develop brotherly feeling. sympathetic, and brotherly are used here. Despite the differences of religion, they are all sympathetic as being equal humans. Regarding oneness of religions, he says, there is only one Ram, and he has 1,000 names. Truth is one only. It is called by different names. All people are seeking the same truth. The variance is due to climate, temperament, and name. A lake has many gods. From one god, the Hindus take water in jars and call it jar. From another god, the Muslims take water in leather bags and call it pani. From a third, the Christians take the same thing and call it water. Further, Vivekananda advocates we accept all religions as true. At the World Parliament of Religion, Chicago, 1893, he openly says without any hesitation that he is a Buddhist, he is a Christian. And he says in the last lecture of the Chicago Parliament of Religion, do I wish that Christian would become Hindu? God forbid. Do I wish that the Hindu or Buddhist would become Christian? God forbid. Similarly, the case with religion. Christian is not to become a Hindu or Buddhist, nor a Hindu or Buddhist to become a Christian. But each must assimilate the spirit of the others and yet preserve his individuality and grow according to his own law of growth. The barriers between religions being removed, he reflected on the mission of the religion. What contribution can religion do to the society? Or what can be useful to the society? Then Vivekananda advocated Daridra Narayana and serving the poor. He says to that effect at places like religion, if it is a true religion, must be practical. Moreover, in his eyes, the best form of religion was to see Shiva represented in living men, and especially in the poor. Worship Shiva in the poor, the diseased, and the weak. For all the ragged, the dying, the poor of India are God. Roland appreciates this like anything and refers to the influence on Gandhi. The one that made the deepest impression was the famous phrase, Daridra Narayana, the beggar God, the only God that exists, the only God in whom I believe, my God, the miserable, my God, the poor of all races. It may justly be said that India's destiny was changed by him, and that this teaching re-echoed throughout humanity. And the striking words has been taken up again by Gandhi and constantly used by him. At one and the same time, the knot was tied between religious contemplation and service to the lower orders, oneness of truth, Hindu-Muslim unity, untouchable, the poor, is the manifestation of God. Their ideas and activities are quite in parallel. Back to Gandhi on the issue of the untouchable. Majority of the people are villagers and extremely poor, giving them charkha and develop the job of making khadi. The untouchables are at the bottom of the society and no doubt much poorer than the villagers. They were, in fact, desperately poor, being caused by the social system. Gandhi did not realize they are so much in despair. In the course of dispute, he was told by Dr. Ambedkar, we have been treated like dogs and cats and given no place to drink water. How could such a nation and such a religion be our nation or religion? No untouchable, if at all, having self-respect, will be proud of this nation. He was greatly shocked with this word and deeply repented. As a result, the following year, he changed the name of his journal, Young India, to Harijan. For him, the poor, the sick, the suffering are the manifestation of God. It's the same as Vivekananda's idea. And he asserted that caste Hindus should repent and serve the poor. Accordingly, he established the Harijan Sevak Sangh, or in later years, his newly built ashram was called Seva Gram. 70% of the gram was the untouchables. He himself spent his time for repent and service. Human beings are by nature equal and of sympathetic feeling each other. Non-violence or Satyagraha, whichever it is originated in this truth. Being firmly convinced, we are being asked to cope with the matter in hand. Thank you.